Welcome everybody to part 3 of my Railway and Forestry Museum video series. In this concluding part, we'll be covering both forestry and railway displays. Here we have a beehive burner, and they're pretty rare now. This beehive burner was first used by Hawes Lumber Company in 1979, before it was moved here. It is 14.2 meters, about 46 feet high. In the old days, sawmills produced a huge amount of waste from the milling and planing of the lumber. Of course, the solution in those days was just to burn it, but that was both environmentally damaging and dangerous. It was said that on a winter's day at minus 30, when these things were burning, if you were 10 feet away from them, you had to wear short-sleeved shirts. It was that hot. Of course, the Environmental Act of 1997 made it illegal to use these burners.
Dana just walked in that door frame.
Of course, nowadays, we actually use all that waste wood. We make particle board out of it. And actually, one of the biggest products we use for the waste wood is to make wood pellets, which I believe is our biggest market, is actually to selling them to Germany. I love this shot because the sun is right behind me and it just displays the beehive burner, and here you can see the ladder going up.
So we're going to walk through this little trestle bridge for the little train towards the beehive burner. And we've got nice sun behind us, and actually this is a great view. There's the beehive burner. So you can see they used to go. There is a ladder. You're not allowed to go up that, of course, obviously. Up to the platform. So we're going to walk in towards the beehive burner from this end. Looks pretty cool. Looks like they got that up because they put lights on there.
So here we are inside the beehive burner. I think this is really awesome. Actually, they're pretty rare nowadays. I don't think I've seen any, but Dana says there's one in Williams Lake. And I know on the coast they're all gone. I mean, just too wet for them to stay. They're just rusted away.
They're really, when you look up, it's a long ways up. They used to put all the wood chips and all that and burn it.
And this building is basically a collection of chainsaws, and there's some even really big chainsaws. But chainsaws actually took off after World War II. Prior to World War II, chainsaws were very heavy and difficult to use. I think that crosscut saw against the wall is really cool. They were used up to the late 1930s because they were light and easily transported.
All the chainsaws and all that. So you can see some of the big chainsaws. Yeah, some of those are huge.
Steam donkeys were a really important tool for the forestry industry in BC during the early 1900s. The steam donkey was used as a traction engine. Steam donkeys were, of course, connected to the steam winches. These would then attach cables from the winch out to the logs when they could be dragged out of the cut area. And here you can see the remains of a boiler. This is Hickson Station, and it's a Panabone style prefab. This building and buildings like these were bought by the Pacific Great Eastern, PGE, to be used as stations when they finished the line to Prince George. In 1952, PGE finally completed the line from Quesnel to Prince George. The Youngsker Bunkhouse. This is an example of a sea and portable bunkhouse. It was used along the railway to house up to 12 workers who would repair tracks as needed. When they finished one section, a steam crane would lift the house onto the flatbed rail car and move it to the next location. This building was restored in stages and reflects the Ukrainian railway workers' quarters by the Yeltsin Ukrainian Cultural Society. Speaking of steam cranes, this is the type of steam crane that was needed to lift the bunkhouse onto the flat car. I actually covered this steam crane quite a bit of detail in part 2. Here we have a hand-riveted 1918 three-dome tanker car. Well, they needed to get diesel out to the lumber camps, and this is how they used to do it. This car used to belong to BC Rail with the designation of BCOL 1934. This is a Jordan spreader and was developed by Oswald Jordan, and it was initially designed to spread ballast along the tracks. The spreader belonged to CN and was designated 51070. That designation just doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? This is a wonderful example of a Jordan spreader. This is PGE's 6302. Along with that incredible front plow section, this spreader also has wings that come out from the sides. As stated earlier, it was initially developed to spread ballast along the tracks, but over time the machine was used for multiple purposes, including snow removal, digging ditches, and even clearing brush. Oswald Jordan, the designer of this spreader, originally worked as a roadmaster for the Canadian South Railway in Ontario. Here's a great side view of the spreader, and here you can really see the wings that pop out. I think that's pretty awesome. This is, I think, really fantastic. Actually, I'm walking up close so you can get a size how big that is. And those wings that pop out are pretty cool. You can see the hydraulics that move them. And that front shovel bar is huge. I'm looking straight up at it. Whoa. So here we have a really good view of the logging car. This logging car was originally designed as a tank carrier for World War II. It served that role until 1945. Westar Timber bought the car as war surplus, added poles, and hauled logs from Hazelton to their pulp mill at Prince Rupert. Here we have a yarder. Now, a yarder is a mechanical version of a spar tree. The cable from this yarder is attached to another high point in the yard and acts just like a giant clothesline for trees. This particular method is really useful in very rugged areas such as the west coast of Canada and is still used today. This particular yarder was used from 1981 to 2007 and was located in Blue River, which is halfway between Prince George and Kamloops. Here we have an example of a log stacker. Log stackers are used to unload logs from logging trucks, move, stack logs in the mill yard. The museum's log stacker, shown here, was built in 1956 and was purchased by Northwood Pulp and Paper in 1965. And this was the first machine of its kind in Prince George. We're going to finish this off at the Visitor Center, which is the main building to the Railway and Forestry Museum. That big shelf near the ceiling that you see, there is an actual model train that occasionally goes along that and goes around. It's pretty cool. I think this would be a great place to bring a family, especially in summer, because the kids will love it. There's a whole bunch of neat stuff to see, and a lot of the cars are all open for them to go inside. And the whole thing isn't going to cost you a fortune in food, because they have picnic benches and you can bring your own food. They encourage you to bring your own food here. I love these photographs of logging in BC from, I'd say, from the early 40s to the late 50s. And here we have some really cool models of trains. And here we have this awesome clock. Unfortunately, I could get no information on this diorama room, who made it or when it was made. The diorama actually represents a typical northern BC community. Here we have timber, railway, and mining, and the detail was really incredible. So on the right hand side of the diorama, we start off with a model of a typical northern sawmill, and you can tell that it must be prior to 1977 because they included an active beehive burner, which gives you a good idea of the scale of the model. And this is a pretty good representation of northern BC. Now we're entering a small township where we probably have the pulp and paper mill. And now into the mining section. I love the details of the tree and the microwave tower. That is cool. They even have an outhouse here. I just love that. Of course, you cannot have the power lines because hydro is a big industry up in northern BC. We sell a lot of power down to California. Of course, we show the model of the beehive burner since we started off this video with the actual beehive burner. Like all guys, no matter how old we are still down to just a bunch of little boys. And I got to play with the train! Again, I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. And please subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers. Yay! I want to thank everybody again for watching my series on Central BC's Railway and Forestry Museum. If you ever visit Prince George, you have to go to this museum. It is fantastic. Bye!